Hi, I'm Dr. Danielle Miller with Convenient Chiropractic Care, and I'm here with Chrissy Milner, who is a nutritionist who is servicing the Verde Valley right now, and she's actually an exclusive nutritionist for Snap Fitness, which has 8 locations. So, Chrissy, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
So, what made you decide to become a nutritionist?
Honestly, through my own health journey, when I was trying to figure out how to be healthy, growing up on mostly processed foods and things like that, I had no idea where to start. So I turned to social media and fell into a bunch of fad diets and crazy things and challenges. And so I wanted to kind of provide, a clarity point for people to make it easier for them, easier than it was for me, anyways.
So, tell me about evidence based nutrition.
Yeah, so my whole thing is evidence based. So I focus on research and what is real versus leaning into the fads, basically.
Makes sense. So, why is nutrition so confusing for most people?
I really think it's social media. I mean, you're on your phone and you're scrolling and somebody tells you the water's bad for you, and then the next one says the water's really good for you, and then the next one says carbs are the devil, and the next one says the carbs are essential. So it's just like so much information. It's just everyone's just like they don't know what to do.
I get that. I understand.
Yeah.
So, if someone wants to improve their health but feels overwhelmed, where should they start?
Well, they should get a nutritionist. Just kidding. I think the most important thing is to focus on like what we know works, right? Like there's an intuitive aspect to nutrition. Like there's a base, you go down to the basics. Like processed foods aren't the best. I feel like everybody knows that that's not your best choice, right? So I think boiling it down to like foods that are less processed, as little processing as possible. I mean, cooking is a process, right? You want to cook your food, but I think just boiling it down to the basics is a really good first step.
What are the main nutrition mistakes that you see?
Um, it really goes back to the trends. I think like the trends and the fads and people just getting caught up in what I mean, it's kind of like keeping up with the Jones almost. But like on Instagram or Facebook, like you see what your neighbor's doing or what this chick on Facebook is doing, and you're like, oh, that's really exciting. So, and getting caught up in that stuff, I think, is where people kind of get led astray.
How much protein should people be eating?
uh, Basically, I mean, it depends on your goals. Everything depends on your goals, but I think a really good starting point is a little bit of an equation. 0.7 to 1 per like gram, sorry, per pound of body fat. So it's like, for example, if you weighed 150 pounds, your top end of that goal would be 150 grams of protein a day.
So, if you wanted to lose weight, you would eat less protein, and if you wanted to gain weight, you would eat more?
I think really protein should stay the same, regardless of if you wanted to lose weight or maintain. Gaining weight, I might actually have somebody eat more protein because the weight you want to gain isn't fat. You want to gain muscle, typically. I mean, some people are different. Maybe there's somebody out there that wants to gain fat, but most people want to gain muscle. So I would increase their protein in that situation. But I would keep that zero point 0.7 to 1 at a bare minimum for weight loss or maintenance clients.
All right. Thanks for clearing that up.
Mm-hmm.
What does a well balanced meal look like for most people?
For most people, I would start with a protein source. Make sure you're getting enough protein to evenly distribute out that in the example I used earlier, that 150 grams. So, like, say you were eating 5 meals a day, I would want to try and get, oh my gosh, I can't do quick math. Whatever that is, multiply and divide by 5.
That's okay. I
30
don't do
grams?
quick math either.
30 grams.
30 grams. We have an
So
answer.
roughly 30 grams per meal. I mean, like a snack would be a little bit less. So start with a protein. Then I would add your vegetable, whatever your favorite vegetable is. And then I would do a carb source. So something like fruit or a whole grain, or one of my personal favorites is sweet potatoes.
No Cheetos?
No
No
Cheetos.
Cheetos.
Not part of a balanced meal, unfortunately. You can have a few. I'm not gonna harass anybody for having a few, but I wouldn't call it part of a balanced meal.
What are some easy ways that people can improve their nutrition without overhauling their whole life?
I think really starting with the two things that people are missing out on, and that's protein. Making sure your protein is as high as it needs to be. A lot of people aren't getting enough protein in. I would say probably a majority of people. And once you get that dialed in, protein is the most satiating macronutrient. So when you fill it, the rest of the gaps in, you're feeling full. You're filling it with things like vegetables and things. So that really helps a lot. And hydration. A lot of people are not well hydrated. So getting enough water in, especially in this area. I mean, we're dry. We need water.
Oh, yes, I see that a lot. Drink your water.
Please.
How does nutrition influence inflammation and recovery in the body?
A lot of people are eating things that aren't supporting recovery. So when you're getting back to the basics, it's helping your body recover properly. So if you're eating enough protein, you're feeding your muscles. And if you're not eating garbage that inflames you, then that's kind of how you combat that, really. And there's plenty of foods that help reduce inflammation, but I think sticking to the basics, the protein and the water first, and then the veggies and stuff, I think is a great way to reduce inflammation.
All right. So does that go for pain and injuries too?
Yeah, I think protein again. I'm gonna say protein probably 30 times. Count it. Maybe like make a drinking game out of it or something. But I mean, again, like any issue with your body, we're made out of protein, right? So any issue that you've got, if you're feeding your body what it's made of, it helps you build back up.
All right. And does that go for joint health too?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, joint health. I mean, probably relates a little bit more as what you're doing into what you're doing with chiropractic care, and like general movement and stuff like that. Like your joints are so important to just take care of in general. But as long as you're nourishing yourself properly, it can help. It always helps.
All right. Yeah, I've seen that when patients get their inflammation levels down through diet, it helps a ton.
Mm.
Yeah. So, what are some high protein meals that people can make quickly?
Some of my favorites are smoothies. A lot of people like smoothies, especially when it's hot outside. And you can throw in whatever your preference of protein powder is. That one's awesome. And I think just kind of going back to the balanced meal thing, like starting with a protein source, whether it's chicken or beef or whatever your preference is. Maybe it's tofu. Or whoever likes tofu. I don't know. Not my thing.
We don't judge.
We don't. And then just kind of building the vegetables and things around it.
So, what if somebody's super busy? How can they stay more consistent?
I think planning ahead is the biggest thing. If you don't, or I'm sorry, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Yeah.
Right? I think that applies to nutrition as well. If you're super busy during the week, but you have a spare day off, start prepping your meals. I'm not talking about doing a whole overhaul and prepping, like having every container, like every meal have a container, but having a plan, and maybe you just cook your meat for a few days, for the next few days. Like you've got 3 12-hour days ahead of you. If you cook your meat ahead of time, that can save you a lot of time, so you can just grab it and add it to whatever veggies you got.
No, that's a great tip. What should people focus on eating after workouts to help them recover?
Protein.
I was gonna guess that.
Yeah, I mean, protein is great, and then depending on the workout, you also need to replenish your energy stores. So getting good carbohydrate and fat sources is really great for post workout. Carbohydrates typically for your like hit type workouts, your more intense workouts, but having a valuable fat source post workout is good too.
What are some signs when someone is not eating enough to support their activity level?
I think the biggest thing is energy. You're feeling lethargic, or maybe you're waking up and you're just like, you look at maybe your tracker or whatever, and you're like, well, it says I slept good, but I still feel like garbage. That's a pretty good indicator that you're overdoing it maybe, or underdoing it with your nutrition.
All right. How about supplements? Which supplements actually have evidence behind them?
Creatine has probably the most evidence out of any supplement. I think there's like thousands of research, like pieces of research on it that you can read. So you could go down some rabbit holes on that one. And then there's a lot of research on caffeine.
Caffeine's good.
Yes,
Caffeine's good.
in moderation.
Oh, okay.
Because it can really help your performance. So if you're using it as like a pre-workout, not necessarily drinking a pre-workout, but using caffeine. So you can even have a cup of coffee before a workout to give yourself that caffeine to perform better. There's a lot of research to support that. And then there's fish oil is a really awesome one that I like a lot. Vitamin D is one of those things that I think like some wild percentage of the world is deficient in. So that one requires a blood test to make sure that you're not getting. But I'd be willing to bet you're probably not, like you being everyone.
How about K2 with your vitamin D?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, very good. So, are protein powders useful or just marketing hype?
I like to think of protein powders as um, another food instead of a supplement, because really it's a food source. It's not really like a supplement in the grand scheme of things. So I would, I mean, there's all kinds of crazy weird protein powders out there, but I think for the most part they are a useful tool to help people get their protein, especially as when you're starting, when you realize you aren't getting enough protein in. Having something that's easy and quick is super helpful.
Yeah, I personally find that if I don't have a protein shake throughout the day, I can't meet my protein goals.
Yeah, yeah.
And I find it
hard.
super helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What supplements do you take?
I take a lot. Creatine is probably my favorite, and fish oil. Fish oil is really, really important for my personal mental health. It's I can tell within a day or two whether that is a placebo thing or not, but I can tell quick. My mental health kind of takes a dive when I'm not on top of my fish oil.
Oh.
And then I take a multivitamin because I live in America and our diets are not necessarily packed with all of the nutrients that we need. There's always a gap. So I take a multivitamin just to make sure that I'm hitting those gaps. I take an organ supplement because I'm not eating liver, but it's important. So if you're getting your liver in, don't worry about that one. And then I take there's one more that I take. I can't remember.
Well, that's okay. We'll come
That's
back
why
to
I
that.
take those ones. Maybe I should take one for my birthday.
All right. What are some nutrition myths that you're seeing?
um, I personally don't love like fad diets. So like carnivore, I don't love because it's a lot of nutrient gaps. You're not getting fruits and veg that you really need to fill those nutrients. It does work for some people on a temporary basis. Maybe there's a super quick fitness goal that they're trying to hit, and it can, because it's a huge reduction in calories. And I think that goes for a lot of fad diets. And we've seen them over time. Like, I don't know, an old trending diet like Atkins or something, like that one kind of died out, right? Because it works for a minute, but it's not sustainable. So those are my biggest like bugaboos, if you will, in nutrition is those fad diets that everybody's jumping on.
Yeah, and most of them aren't sustainable.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's okay to hit your goals with them if you want to lose 10 pounds, but understanding that that either that 10 pounds is coming back or finding a way to work back up to like maintenance, however that looks, is important. And what people forget is they do that diet and then they're like, okay, I'm good, and they go back to normal eating and they're back to where they were at before they did that crazy diet, and that's where the yo-yoing kind of comes in.
So they seem to work at first, and then they don't work anymore because people kind of fall off or they hit their goal, and then they start eating the garbage again.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like, you get excited, you hit your goal, and you go and celebrate out with beer and pizza, and then the next day you're feeling bloated and gross, and you wonder why. It's because you haven't eaten beer and pizza in a month or however long.
Yeah, so it's just better to make a lifestyle change that you can live with.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's how I coach, is with lifestyle changes, like small tweaks we can make to your diet so that and your lifestyle so that you live a healthy life. Like, I like to plan for, I want to eat now how I'm eating when I'm 80 years old. And I'm not dieting, doing crazy yo-yo diets when I'm 80 years old. I don't know about you guys, but
That does not sound appealing.
no, it sounds rough.
So if somebody wants to start immediately, changing their diet, having better nutrition, what are 3 things that they could do?
Increase their protein. Make sure they're well hydrated. And the quickest way to tell if you're well hydrated is your urine color. I mean, making sure that you're relatively clear. We want a little bit of color, but we'll make sure you're actually not just pooling water through you. You want to be actually peeing stuff out, believe it or not. And the third would be to just focus on whole foods. So just, I think, focusing on things like fruits and vegetables where you can.
Are you taking new clients?
Always. Until I can't anymore, I'm always taking new clients.
How can somebody find you on social media?
My Instagram handle is Mrs. Chrissy Milner, so that's MRSCHRISSY. Milner as MILNER.
All right. And how can somebody get in touch with you if they would like to hire you?
Email, phone, Instagram, however you want to get in touch. My phone number is 928-202-1864. Or reach out to me on Instagram, or, catch me on the street. I'll talk to anybody about nutrition any day.
And do they have to be local? Could you do a virtual visit?
Yeah, absolutely. In some of my SNAP locations, I can't physically get there. One of them is in Boulder City, Nevada. So, like, that one is a little bit tricky for me to get to, being in Cottonwood. So, yeah, like Zoom calls are my primary thing, or I can chat with you on the phone, or we can send letters back and forth if you wanted to. I like letters.
I love that. Very, very resourceful.
Anyway, anybody needs help, I'm happy to help.
All right. Well, I want to thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope that you found this informative. Please like this podcast and subscribe, and check Chrissy out on her socials. Send her an email, send her a text, give her a call. She's definitely worth it.